I'm not asking you that. I'm asking you,
Congressman.
were you the special agent in charge?
To show respect
You were not.
for a Secret Service member that died on 9/11. I actually responded to Ground Zero. I was there going through the ashes of the World Trade Center. I was there at Fresh Keels.
Mr. Rowe, would you agree that the protection that President Trump was provided on the 13th of July was wholly and tragically negligent?
Nice. Mr. Fallon from Texas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for the work that you and Ranking Member Rowe and the rest of the committee has done, and certainly our staff. Mr. Rowe, would you agree that the protection that President Trump was provided on the 13th of July was wholly and tragically negligent? The site plan was abysmal to the point of derelict. And on the 13th of July in Butler, Pennsylvania, the United States Secret Service not only failed President Trump, but Corey Comparatori and the American people in historic fashion.
I would.
In the months leading up to July 13th, who was the director of the Secret Service?
Kimberly Cheadle.
Okay. Other than former Director Cheadle, who was the most senior Secret Service agent?
In the agency? That would be me. I was the
Correct.
deputy director.
In the months leading up to the July of 24, were you made aware of highly credible intelligence that a serious and grave threat to President Trump's life from an adversarial nation state? There was a very serious threat.
In this open setting, Congressman, I can't discuss what I was or was not aware of.
Well, the former Director Cheadle said she was aware. So I would imagine, by extension, you were aware.
You
said in open session that...
I would point to Director Cheadle's
All right, so you were aware. So we have a unique circumstance here because we had a former president of the United States who is the leading candidate at that time to be the next president of the United States, and he will be now that we know. And he was being threatened by a foreign nefarious nation state because of actions he took while he was president of the United States. Very unique circumstances. So being that you were aware of these unique circumstances, did President Trump, was he provided a security detail akin to what a sitting president would receive?
At that time, he was not.
He was not. Would you agree that if there was a counter-surveillance unit there in Butler on the 13th, he would have been safer?
I think if there was a counter-surveillance unit advanced that was on the ground, it could have aided the advance team in identifying the AGR.
So he would have been safer? President Trump
yes,
would have been safer? Yeah, okay. I don't think this would have even occurred, but be that as it may, did the president's detail request a CSU, to your knowledge?
I'm not aware of a request for CSU.
Now, was the threat from the nefarious nation state disseminated to agents in the field and in the protective details?
I'm just pausing, Congressman, because I'm trying to walk a tightrope here in an open setting. What I can tell you is that the Secret Service provided assets on that day for a particular...
What I can tell you, sir, is that the folks that are whistleblowing and informing some members of Congress say that they were not aware of this threat. And that's what I'm getting at with being proactive and showing leadership is we know for a fact that there was no CSU in Butler. Was there a full CAT team there?
There was not.
No. A full CAT team, 6 members, and there were 2 there. So you knew of the threat. You didn't disseminate to the field and the protective details. You didn't. President Trump didn't have a protection that was akin to a sitting president. He didn't have the CSU. He had only the 1/3 of the CAT team. So that's that kind of ineptitude and inaction and complacency and neglect that really, quite frankly, is as telling as it is chilling. And had it not been for a very blessed, fortuitous and a happenstance of a perfectly timed turn of the head, President Trump would have lost his life that day. Now, this is another thing that concerns me. We report to our constituents, and instead of really after this happened, did you go the next day to Butler, Pennsylvania on the 14th of July?
I did not.
Okay. Did you go that week?
I did not.
Okay. The FBI held that site secure for 5 days as an active crime scene, and they released it back to the owners on the 18th, and you did not visit. And when did you finally visit the site?
I visited about a day after I was appointed.
So July 24th? Cheadle came in July 22nd. She got skewered and roasted by the Democrats and Republicans on the Oversight Committee, of which I sit on. She resigned the next day, and then only that day did you go.
I'll take your word for it, Congressman.
Why'd you wait 9 days, 11 days?
Why did I wait 9 days?
Director of the FBI went to the site. Why didn't you go?
Congressman, I think I was appointed July 23rd, and I was there on the 24th or 25th.
But you were the second most senior member of the Secret Service. You could have gone.
And I was managing from here the crisis. We actually
Okay, so you didn't go.
dispatched.
Got it. Did you call the, you were managing the crisis you just said. Did you call the detail that night on July 13th that was protecting President Trump?
On that night, they were operational, sir.
You did not. Okay. Did
I
you
did
call him
not.
the next day?
No, I did not.
Okay. When did you finally talk to him?
I spoke to them when they arrived in Milwaukee.
So 4 days later, July 17th, does that sound about right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you waited 4 days, and when we were talking earlier, a couple months ago, this is an epic failure. We all agree on that. And instead of really focusing on the egregious errors and correcting the incompetence and improving the doctrine and changing the culture, there was a massive appropriations request. We know that you have 8,000 employees. We know that they have a $3.1 billion budget, and you asked for $2 billion additional dollars. What sticks in our craw is when we report to our constituents, we have to say, hey, this federal agency failed epically, and then they wanted to almost double their budget. How much would it have cost to put somebody on that water tower? How much would it have cost to have drones that were actually functioning that day? How much would it have taken to where your anti-drone technology would have worked? How much would it have costed in a walkthrough with local law enforcement to secure the AGR site, or put cameras on that roof, or put agents on that roof, or have your snipers have iPads, or have one command post instead of two, or cordon off the damn AGR complex, 17 acres? That wouldn't have cost $2 billion. And in fact, with caution tape, signs, posts, and stakes, it would have run about $410 because we ran through it. Let's add another zero. Say it's $4 grand. It's not $2 billion. So I got another question for you. Do you recognize this photo?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. Was that the remembrance of September 11th?
It was.
Was it in New York?
It was at Ground Zero.
Okay. Who's usually at an event like this closest to the President of the United States, security-wise?
The sack of the detail.
Special agent in charge of the detail. Were you the special agent in charge of the detail that day?
Actually, let me address this. Could you please, staff, leave that? Oh, no, leave that one up with the circle around me. Thank you. So actually, Congressman, what you're not seeing is the sack of the detail out of the picture's view. And that is the day where we remember the more than 3,000 people that have died on 9/11. I actually responded to Ground Zero. I was there going through the ashes of the World Trade Center. I was there at Fresh Kills.
I'm not asking you that.
I was
I'm asking
there,
you
Congressman.
were you the special agent in charge?
To show respect
You were not.
for a Secret
That's
Service
a bunch of
member
horse hockey.
that died on 9/11.
Oh, that you're trying to be.
Do not invoke 9/11 for political purposes.
Oh, I'm not. I'm invoking this.
You are, sir.
Gentlemen,
And you are out of line.
I would like to ask him a question.
Please.
You are out of line, Congressman.
Don't
Way
try
out
to
of
bully
line.
me. I am an elected member of Congress, and I'm asking you a serious question, and you are
I
playing
am a
politics.
public servant who has served this nation, and
You
spent
won't answer the
time
question.
on our day, on our country's darkest
Mr.
day.
Chairman,
Committee
you
will
not
come
answer-
to
Do not
order.
politicize it.
Committee will come to order.
I'm asking you serious questions for the American people, and they're very simple. They're not trick questions. Were you the special agent in charge that day?
No, I wasn't. I was there
Oh, no,
representing
Mr.
the
Chairman,
United
I'm
States
just
Secret
asking you yes or
Service,
no.
sir.
Mr. Fallon, your
and
time's
did not
expired.
affect protective
Fallon,
You know
operations.
why you
Time
were
has
there?
expired.
Because you wanted to be visible, because you were auditioning for this
I was
job
there to
that
pay
you're not
respect
gonna
for a
get
fallen
till
member of
January
this
20th.
agency.
You endangered
You are
President
out of
Biden's
line,
life,
Congressman.
Vice
You
President
are out of
Harris's
line.
life, because you put those agents out of position.
Mr.
Did you have a
Chairman.
radio with
Mr.
you?
Fallon,
Did
your
you wear a
time
vest?
has
Did you have a
expired.
weapon?
Mr.
No.
I did, sir, and you are out of line.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
please.
All right. And we are back
You're
in
a
order
bully.
now. We are back in order now.
Thank you.
Mr. Moskowitz, you are now recognized for 5 minutes.
Okay,
Congressman?
how you doing?
Sir?
All right. So, look, the reason emotions are high is because we almost did have a former president, and now the president-elect, literally almost killed live on television.